Photosynthesis is a process carried out by plants in order to produce glucose. Glucose is used by plants in order to respire and grow. Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast of plant cells. The photosynthesis equation is carbon dioxide plus water forms glucose plus oxygen. You also need to be able to recognise and write out the chemical symbol equation. In this process, oxygen is a byproduct. Photosynthesis is an endothermic reaction. So this means it takes energy in from the surroundings, and this explains why light energy is essential for the reaction to take place. Energy is transferred from the environment to the chloroplasts by light. Leaves are adapted to make this process efficient. Some of the ways they are adapted include having air spaces and stomata for rapid gas exchange, being thin for a short diffusion distance, and having a large surface area to allow more sunlight to hit the leaf. The rate of photosynthesis is affected by the environment. Some of these may come as common sense, as they are simply factors which will affect the rate of a reaction. An increase in temperature leads to an increase in photosynthesis. However, at a certain point, the reaction rate will start to decrease as photosynthesis is an enzyme-controlled reaction, and the enzymes will begin to denature. Light intensity is critical to photosynthesis. The higher the light intensity, the higher the rate of photosynthesis. The next required practical is to do with light intensity and photosynthesis. The practical involves measuring the volume of oxygen produced by pondweed as the light source is moved further away. A beaker, measuring cylinder and water is used, and the number of bubbles produced in a set time is counted. Then the light source is moved closer and the experiment is repeated. The photosynthesis rate should increase as the source gets closer. However, beyond a particular point, the rate will not change. After this point, the light is no longer the limiting factor. The limiting factor is the factor which is limiting the rate of photosynthesis. If light intensity isn't limiting the reaction rate, it could be carbon dioxide concentration. Carbon dioxide is actually the most common limiting factor. It has a similar effect on photosynthesis as light intensity does. It will increase up until a point is reached, and then beyond this point, another factor is the limiting rate. Another reason why photosynthesis may be limited could be due to the amount of chlorophyll in the leaf. The lower the amount of chlorophyll, the lower the photosynthesis rate. Higher tier students need to understand the inverse square law. This law applies to light intensity and photosynthesis rate. If the distance of the light source increases, the rate of photosynthesis decreases. Light intensity decreases or increases in inverse proportion to the distance squared. If the distance decreases by half, then 1 over half squared is the light intensity, and this means it increases by a factor of 4. Plants use the glucose produced in photosynthesis for many different things. Glucose is used in respiration to provide energy to the cells. Plants convert some of the glucose into starch to be stored. Starch is insoluble in water, and so it won't affect the water balance of the plant. Glucose, however, is soluble. Starch is the main energy store of the plant, and it is stored in the cells of the leaves and specific storage areas such as the tubers. Glucose can be used to produce cellulose, which strengthens the walls of cells. Glucose can also be combined with nitrates to form amino acids. The amino acids are used in protein synthesis, and they go on to be used in different ways by the plant, such as enzymes. This explains why nitrates are important to plants, and why the plants are unable to live in soil with a low mineral ion content without specific adaptations. Finally, glucose can be converted into fats or oils. These are just another form of energy store inside cells.